Okay, guys, so I'm going to do this because I put a video out where I talked to AI a while back about what's possible to do with Trade Sniper. And sorry for my audio. I was trying to keep my voice low so that you guys could focus on what was being said. You guys hear enough of me already. So now it's going to be me talking. And I want to go through this again one more time just to show you some what ifs because, seeing is believing, and these numbers are very, very hard to wrap your mind around. I had a revelation today of how to express this, and I'd like to share it with you. It would be the things that I'm going to show you in this video here would be similar to trying to explain the fourth dimension to a third dimensional being, which we all are. And, it's interesting because there's a lot of parallels there. You get it, you think you got it, you almost got it, and then you don't got it and you lose it again. And we'll talk about that here in a second. You think that you got a grasp of it, and then all of a sudden you just something your mind just simply cannot accept the fourth dimension, much less the fifth dimension, and and beyond. And that's kind of the way it is with compounding. And so we're going to talk about this. And there's a tool here that was developed by Corian, who is the lead developer here on Trade Sniper. And this is simple math. This is not meant to be any kind of prediction or anything like that, but it is meant to be a example of what's possible, and it is very based and grounded in reality. Of course, obviously, there's some market fluctuations that'll happen, but just to show you very simple math as far as how compounding works. Einstein called compound interest the eighth wonder of the world, and you will understand when I get done with this video why he said that. Okay, so Trade Sniper, as some of you already know, or many of you already know, is our new AI project that we have. I now have a computer company that I've acquired, and we are producing these things in physical form. And so we are aiming to be the largest consumer-based AI trading company in the world, spread out all over the planet with our hubs, and this thing is growing like wildfire. And it is functional right now for to be used as phase one trading. However, our AI system is going to go live here very, very quickly, and it will basically do the trading completely for you. Some of the people who've been a subscriber for a long, long time, they just don't have time to do the trades or whatever, to watch the charts as diligently as they should. And I hate to see those guys get taken out. I hate to see you guys give up the last great Wild West run that you're probably going to see in your lifetime. Guys, I'm speaking specifically to you ones that have been in crypto, that have just thought, well, I'd like to make a go of this. I tried it. I gave up. Don't give up, guys. Don't give up. The people who give up never get anywhere. And I've told this story many, many, many times, and I probably will continue to tell this story um, about me when I was a child learning to ride a bike. And I won't get into the whole story, but it manifests itself as me learning to ride a bike and crashing into the rose bushes and throwing my bike down and saying that I was never ever going to ride a bike. And my father, who is a very, very, a very strong man, an upper person in the military, let's just say that, was not going to let his son be a failure. And he said, get back on that bike and pedal. And you keep pedaling until you've mastered it, and get out of those rose bushes. And so, for that, as a tribute, the people who have early adopters of Trade Sniper, we have deemed that group the Rose Group, because those are the people that have stood up, dusted themselves off from crypto losses. We've all had crypto losses, guys. Welcome to investing, man. You ain't going to get green lights all the way across town. You're going to hit some stop signs. You're going to get some yield signs. You're going to hit some potholes. Oh, you are going to hit potholes. That's what the journey is all about. But, at the end of the day, did you get yourself out of the rose bushes? Did you pedal that bike on to greener pastures? And so there are people that are doing that, and sales are starting to get brisk here. We haven't gone into our full pre-launch here, and we're just about ready to do that. And the folks that are in the Rose group are going to get a special cut of this. They're going to get early access to what I'm going to show you here in this video. So without much more ado here. I want to show you just basically the eighth wonder of the world. That's effectively what we're going to do here. These numbers are assumptive of what Trade Sniper would do at the absolute minimum. I mean, I could talk for 4 hours about what this system is capable of doing and not even begin to express some of the stuff that's planned and in the works for Trade Sniper. And we're just going to talk about one aspect of this, which is multiplication, which is compounding your investments on auto trade. Get in, put your money in, and just let that bad boy go to work and do its thing for you. And I want you to sit down, put your seatbelt on, put two seatbelts on, because you will not believe what I'm going to show you. But I am going to express this in a way that you can follow this. There's no sleight of hand. You can sit down with a calculator and you can replicate everything I'm about to show you and see for a fact logically that this is possible to do. All right, so enough of that. Um, in theory here, so I've had a couple of sales that happened today, and one of them was a long-time subscriber, about 4 years. He's like, I got to know about this Trade Sniper thing. I got to know, he was a hard sell. He knows me, he knows my reputation, stuff like that. But God bless him. I would be asking questions too, because if it seems too good to be true, oftentimes it is. But again, we're talking about the eighth wonder of the world here, backed by Albert Einstein. And so this is what it is, time and patience. And so investing here, let me give you a real quick mini class on how wealth is created. There's two ways you can make money in investing. You can make a lot really quickly in one big chunk, or you can make little bits at a time over a certain period of time. Now, the third leg of that, or leg 2.B, is the distance of time between your investments. So, for in other words, if you scratch off a lottery ticket, congratulations, you're a millionaire. However, if you become like most people like me, when I bought houses, I bought one house, then I bought two, then I bought four, then I bought eight, then I bought 20, then I bought, took me a long time to become the largest real estate investor in my state. And I paid my dues. And believe me, there were potholes all along the way. Never stops, but I didn't give up. I stayed on the bike. But it took me a certain period of time. But nothing, because I was manually doing the trades. I was manually doing the purchasing. I was manually doing the automated part of this that we're going to talk about. Was all done by yours truly. So it took a while to do. If a computer was able to do what I did, which is basically impossible in real estate, it could have been a matter of minutes, and I'll demonstrate that to you. Now, we're talking about cryptocurrency here. Cryptocurrency is an interesting thing because basically it's a market that never sleeps. And so what we're looking at is we're looking at a market that anytime you step up to the plate, you can get yourself into a trade, you can make some money. 3 o'clock in the morning in your underwear, or in the middle of the day while you're at work, trading on your phone, trading at home, whatever. It can be done anytime. Now, the question I would pose to you is, what if you never had to leave your trade desk? What if you were just there all the time? Well, that becomes an interesting question, doesn't it? What if something could be there in your stead? What if something could do that work for you? What if something could do the homework and actually do it faster, better, faster, stronger than you ever could? What if it could do it with a depth of understanding and analytical uh, um, expertise that you could never muster in your best mastery? This is what we're talking about. Welcome to the world of AI. And so we have a system that is second to none that's being created as I make this video right now. It's called Osiris. And Osiris is going to be spread out all over the world and all the networks and all the countries. Japan, Puerto Rico. It's going to be several places in the United States, Canada, South America, Asia, all over Asia. And these things are going to be ubiquitous, and they're going to be on all exchanges, and they're going to be able to trade between exchanges to do arbitrage. They'll be able to trade coins in microfractions, lightning fast. The stuff you hear about on the 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock news about how the big boys do their tradings, I'm bringing this down to the consumer level. You guys are going to be able to do that with this product that I'm talking about right now, which is called Trade Sniper. Okay, so let me show you the math of how this works. There's just far too much to discuss as far as Trade Sniper goes, and all of its capabilities. I want to just stick to just one thing here on this broadcast. So we're going to do a little calculation. We're going to have fun with numbers here. So if you were to buy Trade Sniper, which by the way is available at fibicharts.com, F-I-B-I charts.com, go to subscribe, and you have 3 levels of subscription. All you really need is gold. Get gold and you can buy your unit, get your first month's activation. activation and get into the Rose group here. Well, that's still available, and we'll talk about that later on in another broadcast. But your cost of entry is basically the cost of the Trade Sniper in the first month's activation, and then you're set and ready to go when we go live with AI. And so here's what's going to happen. So once you bought that, then you just have a simple, as cheap as $200 a month to keep the activation. Then you have your charts, and you have me giving productions and stuff like that. And you have a chat group, which is second to none. Many of these people have been with me for the entire 5 years or 4 years that I've been doing this. These guys have been with me. So this is a group that's not very transient. These guys come and they stay because I give value. I'm adamant about giving value. I'm not here to sell you something you don't need. I'm not going to sell you a Cadillac when a Chevy will do. I'm not going to sell you, Dom Perignon when just a simple beer will get the job done, because it's just not necessary. You'll work your way up to that stuff with time. So if you were to buy a Trade Sniper, hypothetically, you were to buy a Trade Sniper which price is $795 as of this video right now, and it will be going up substantially. Once we go live with AI, you're going to see probably a 10x price increase. So listen to me very carefully. $795 is the price right now. It will be going up 10x, if not more. When we go live and people see what this is going to do, prices are going to go up. I just want to give you that warning right now. So the window is closing. All right, so if you were to buy a Trade Sniper, $795 and $199 activation, that's your basis, about $949, I think, give or take, free shipping in the United States. If you were to get that, that's pretty much all you need to do. And then you're ready to rock and roll for about a month or so, and you certainly will out earn your $200 monthly subscription easily. So if you were to do that, and let's say, okay, I got a couple bucks left. Let's say I got $100 left after I spend, my McDonald's money. I go all in on Trade Sniper, and I've got very little to trade with. Well, let's just start with $100, and let's see what can happen. Now, this calculator was produced. This is a simple compound interest calculator. It doesn't go into great detail, but it does give some very, very accurate insight as to what's possible with this system. And so, without much ado here, let's just take $100 and throw it in. Now, the next thing down here we're looking at is what kind of interest are we earning? Now, to go back and re-rack here and explain to people who are probably not financial savvy or don't really understand the miracle of compound interest. If a person were to take an amount of dollars, well, in this case, $100, and they were to make a certain percentage of interest on that, that would be, in this case, $100 with a 2% interest. Okay, no big deal. We're talking $2. That's not even walking around money. But if we were to take the $100 plus the $200 and reinvest it, all 102, and get 2% profit on that, and then on that, and then on that, you will see that it will churn along for a little while, and then all of a sudden it will just go parabolic. It will just go straight up hockey stick. And that's what we're talking about. And this is why Einstein calls this the eighth wonder of the world, because nothing, whoosh, and it just goes right, it just gets completely out of hand. And you'll see that here in a couple of minutes. So what I'm telling you is we're going to be massively conservative, and several of you have already heard some of my other videos where I kind of riff on this stuff. I'm going to be very, very straight down the line and explain this very methodically so you guys can hang with me. You guys that like numbers, here's your numbers. Okay, so we're going to work with some probabilities. We're going to start literally with $100. That's the start. We're not putting after Trade Sniper purchase and monthly activation, we're putting $100 in this system, and we're just going to theoretically see what we can get out of this. Might be interesting. So let's see what can happen. And we're going to set a milestone here. We're going to set a goal for ourselves. And I don't laugh. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. We want to make $1 million. Who doesn't want to make $1 million, right? Everybody wants to be a millionaire. How long is that going to take to do that? Well, you're about to find out. So here's what happens. After our first milestone is 1,000. We've done 117 trades. We actually overshot by $14.43. So we've made, after 117 trades, we've made 1,000 for it. And so here's where the interesting part comes into this. And so some of you guys that talk to me are like, that's a lot of trades. My God, that'll take forever. Welcome to the power of computer and AI. This can happen in a fraction of a second. You are used to making trades 1, 2, 3, 5 a day. Computers can do it all day, all night, 24/7, 365, ruthlessly, without any emotion, in, out, gone. You give it, this is simple math, guys. It's all it is. It's just math. We want to put X in, we want to get Y out, we want to limit Z loss. Simple, pure and simple, ruthless calculations. That's what it is. No emotion, just like the Terminator. It just goes and goes and goes and goes. Limit the downside, maximize the upside. So let me give you a little bit of insight as to the way Trade Sniper works and the Osiris network works. So we're going to make some assumptions, extremely conservative in our assumptions here. And I want you to rewind this and listen to me. I'm being extremely conservative. I'm leaving out losses, which are our pittance, because we're going to limit our downside. And I'll explain that here in just a second. But I am not taking into account anything above 2%. We are going in with a goal of taking $100 in, making 2% on every trade. Now, as you well know, crypto has a habit of doing things that are far greater than 2%, far greater than 2%, sometimes as much as 25, 35, 40% on one candle. Sometimes when things are going crazy, 200, 300, 400. So we're not even talking about that. And it happens. It happens a lot. It happens daily, as a matter of fact. But again, we're not going to discuss that. We're going to be very conservative and very level-headed about this. 2%, that's all we want. Now, Trade Sniper is designed in a certain way where it does a live trailing stop loss. So the reality of the situation is, even though I'm telling you it's going to be 2%, it's going to be more on every single trade. Every single trade that's proactive. Because what Osiris does, Osiris is the master computer, the network of master computers. And what it does is it studies every single candle in the history of a coin. So let's take Bitcoin, for example. It goes back and pulls to the 1 minute all candles having anything to do. So specifically speaking, we did a investment study, pulled all the data on XRP. We pulled over 1.3 million 1 minute candles into the Osiris network, and we're analyzing this stuff, looking for fractals, looking for patterns, looking for pattern recognition, and creating a matrix and testing. And this thing is getting smarter and smarter and smarter. And by the time it gets to Christmas, it's just going to be absolutely ludicrous. We are shooting for a failure rate, well, a success rate, actually, I should say. We are shooting for a success rate exceeding 90% every time we step to the bat. Guarantee you're not going to get that from doing it yourself. Guarantee you're not going to get it too many times in a row. But statistically, we are looking for a 90 to 95% success rate. You will never get 100% because these things are manipulated. The manipulation does exist. Even with the best computer, you can't fight it. But all you got to do, any train wreck you can walk away from, it's a good train wreck. And to do that 90% of the time, or 92, 93% of the time, that's outstanding. Okay, so without belaboring that too much, I just wanted to kind of let you know that I am being ultra, ultra, ultra captain conservative with this. Okay, so that being understood, we're going to take $100. We're going to put in 2% on every single trade. We're going to try to go to $1 million. So I'm going to roll through this here, and I'm going to show you the time frames and how long this takes. And like I said, make sure you got your seatbelt on, because you're going to have doubt at what I say. But you are looking at a calculator here. Not my opinion. This is a calculator. You can replicate it yourself. Okay, so after 117 trades, you're looking at about 1,014 bucks. That's compounding 2% every single time. Skipping down here roughly, let's just move down here to about 349 trades. You're now at $100,000. After 349 trades, $100,000, you're actually at $100,336.73, overshooting that goal by $336.73. After, let's just scooch way down here. After, well, let's just get to the bottom here because you can see it. After 466 trades, that's it, 466 trades, you've hit $1 million. You've actually overshot it by $17,841.23. Now, I know what you're all sitting there thinking to yourself, can't happen, it's bullshit, I don't believe it. Now here's where I'm going to explain to you how it's not and how it could very, very easily happen. The power of computers. So let's make some assumptions. So if you go back and you look at what I just said, or you listen to what I said earlier, I could have become a multimillionaire in real estate far faster had it not taken me so much time to trade these houses. So what was the drag factor? The drag factor was the time between the trades. Now, we're talking about a computer system here. We're talking about AI. I think you'd have to be living under a rock not to realize the power of AI and how it's changing the world. AI is basically going to be ubiquitous. There's nothing that AI can't do. At least that's what the news wants you to believe. Now, what if you've got something that's getting smarter, teaching itself, that's networked in, that's plugged in, that basically has a direct pipeline to the back end of these trade places? So even when the front end goes down for maintenance, you're still trading. That's another thing that we'll talk about in future videos. You're able to trade when everybody else can't even get into their Coinbase account. And this thing is still doing it. Talk about the unfair advantage. That's a neat little sales feature, because you know how many times that maintenance happens and all of a sudden these coins start getting wacky. Trade Sniper will catch them because it has a direct pipeline to the back end of Coinbase and Kraken and all these others as soon as we get them plugged in. So to go back and say, okay, well, how is it possible that 466 trades from $100 gets you to $1 million+? Well, get out your calculator and do it. Take $100 times 1.02 and just keep replicating it times itself, times itself, times itself, times itself, and do that, and you will get this number. And so the question is, how can we do that faster? Well, we do that with AI. AI can do these things multiple times a second. Now, here's the exciting part. Osiris has the ability to do 36 quintillion code calculations within a span of an hour, I believe is what we worked it out. That's a level of mathematical expertise and ability that just is beyond even the most autistic expert. And so to be able to study the math models and to be able to study the pattern models and pattern recognition and say, there's a winner, 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 and get in, get in, get in, get in, get in, get in, get out. In and out, in and out, in and out, in and out, micro fractions of a time, and do this over the entire span of every single coin that's being traded on an exchange. Right now in our models, we're running the top 30 just to kind of just get our feet wet with this. But eventually, we're going to have every coin on Coinbase, every coin on Binance, every coin on Kraken, everything on Gemini, everything, and the DEXs as well. And then when we get done, we're going to be trading them against each other for arbitrage. So you're going to be looking at Bitcoin on Binance versus Bitcoin on Coinbase. And if there's a difference, execute, pocket the difference. And it happens so fast, you don't even know it. And it doesn't have to happen with you watching. Automated money, baby. That's what this is all about. Now, hopefully, you guys are probably stressing your seatbelts a little bit and you're about ready to jump out of the chair. At least you should be. So I'm going to go down to the second part of this. And I want to show you time value of money. We've talked about this many times on the channel. So the question is this little piece of tech right here that we build in. So how many trades do you think a supercomputer, a network of supercomputers all over the planet, can execute trades over hundreds of different coins? Well, microfractions. So again, we could just get completely ludicrous in this. And so what I'm proposing to you is, let's slow this roll down to something that's in the third dimension that we can understand, because again, I'm describing the fourth dimension to you here, and I know it's probably hurting your brain. You don't want to accept what I'm about to tell you, or what I'm trying to tell you, but it is the fact. Compounding will get you to over $1 million in 466 trades starting at $100 with 2%. It's fact. It's absolute fact. Pick your favorite AI, ask the question. That is a fact. Okay, so the question is are we going to suffer losses along the way? Sure. And I've tried, if you guys have watched these videos that I put out in the past, I've tried to break it. I've put 2 times loss for every win with limited downsides. Still can't break it. Just stretches the time out that it takes to do it. And it just keeps going. It just keeps marching forward and just keeps trading. And it does it 24/7, 365. Now, here's the thing that it's going to excite you. How fast are we talking? Months, years, decades to $1 million? Sit down, because I'm warning you, you're not going to be able to accept this. Now, let's think about computers for a second. How fast can they execute trades? Lightning fast. So the question is how many times is there a trade in cryptocurrency that can be executed with what's our goal? With a 2% profit. Let me pull something down here for you just to illustrate this graphically. And I think this will probably bring it home probably better than anything else. To show you literally what's going on here, I think would be probably the best. All right. So we'll use a slow one here because we're trying to be conservative. All right. So here's Bitcoin. All right. This is Bitcoin. Everybody knows it. You can verify it. You can see. And today's date is 8/26/2025. And by the way, if you're excited and want to know more, if you want to buy one of these, this is where it all starts. The unfairadvantage.chat. And we'll talk about that here in just a little bit before I sign off. But that's the site. You're welcome to come and join us in the free room. Ask a moderator, how do I get one of these incredible machines? The unfairadvantage.chat is how it all starts for you. Okay, so let's take a look at these charts here, or this chart that's in front of you here. Now, these candles represent one-day action. Every one of these candles is up, down, up, down, up, down. Well, what does it mean? Well, to you, it just looks like a bunch of squiggles and a bunch of spaghetti, but let's just get right down into the minutia of this, and let's just take a look. Now, what was our goal? To remind you, our goal is we want to make 2%. Okay, well, I don't think that's too terribly hard. Let's just take your average candle. Let's just pick one. Here's one right here. That ran 4%. So could you, just trading one time off that candle, hit our goal? The answer is yes. Indubitably, the answer is yes. But here's the question that follows that. How many times on that particular candle did it hit 2%? And what you have to know is this is a one-day candle. The candles go up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down inside of a one. And every single time it goes down and up represents another chance. So in other words, Trade Sniper is watching this thing on the microfraction 1/100th of a second. Every time it dips into a buy zone, matches a matrix, purchases made, purchases sold, 2% is taken again and again and again. And it's not doing it on one coin, it's doing it on all coins across a deep and wide. So currently we have 30 plugged in right now. That would be XRP, XLM, Bonk, Pepe, Bitcoin, Ethereum, et cetera, because we're just kind of dry running everything right now. But suffice it to say, there's always money to be made, and Osiris is watching everything to the microfraction across the board constantly, 365, looking for deals on the microfraction, executing here, buying this. So 1 second you might be in Pepe, out of Pepe, in Ethereum, out of Ethereum, or you might be into XRP, into XLM, into something else, and then all of a sudden sell, sell, sell. Because markets move like that, and it will track and trace and watch your thing. And how do you do this? How do you stay up with this? You don't have to. What your job is to put X number of dollars into your account that you control. I do not control it. I do not have access to your wallet. I don't want access to wallet. I'm not your money manager. You handle it. And everything is done on your desktop with a simple desktop unit called Trade Sniper. And if you want to know more, again, go to unfairadvantage.chat, and we'd be happy to kind of give you the whole dissertation on that. It's a small little computer. It's about the size of a piece of Texas toast. I'd show you a picture of it, but I want to kind of stay on task here. So let's go back to part 2 of our little scenario here, and let's talk about that time frame. So I think I've got it pretty well understood. What can happen here? So if you started your math here, you can see I'm not kidding. I'm absolutely not kidding. Now the question is how fast can we pull off this little miracle? Now here's the answer. Let's assume that we're going to be very conservative, just very conservative. And once every, I don't know, assuming that we've got all these coins, assuming that we've got all this opportunity, assuming that everything is running right for us, and the computer just can't seem to find, let's just say the market's absolutely decimated. But again, I just demonstrated to you that coins go up and down during the day. There's always action, even in a declining market. There's always positive action. There's always money to be made. And any of you guys that have been trading long enough know that's exactly how it goes. We're only looking for 2%, but that trailing stop loss is there. If it happens to go into a geyser, oh, it could be so much more on that trade. So never forget that. But let's assume let's just say every 10 minutes. Every 10 minutes, it's making a trade. Now, that would seem reasonable by human standards. And I would agree with that. But again, I want to impress upon you, we're dealing with a supercomputer here that can execute hundreds and hundreds of thousands of executions in a fraction of a blink of an eye. But here we are laughably trying to say every 10 minutes it's making a trade, which is absolutely the most ludicrous thing you could possibly say. But I'm trying to speak in third dimension terms. Okay, get ready. So we're going to do this. We're going to do 10 trades in an hour, which is well within human capability. So if you understand what you're looking at, this is answering the question, how long does it take to get to $1 million using this formula right here? Let's go back and recap. We started with $100. We conservatively are not even entertaining the idea of making 2%, more than 2%, but we will. And we're going through this whole thing of again and again and again and again. We're trading, according to our calculator, 466 times to $1 million. How long does it take to execute 466 trades? Well, the answer, boys and girls, is 46.6 hours if you're trading 10 times an hour. That is 1.9 days. $100 to $1 million in less than 48 hours. Welcome to AI. Welcome to the revolution. What we are creating is not replicated by anyone at any price. Trade Sniper is the ultimate weapon for the home-based trader. So I want to give you guys just a real quick look at this. I have so much to say. What's coming out in the next 30 days will absolutely, pardon my language, will blow your goddamn mind. I've been a part of many success startups, many entrepreneurial startups, and nothing has kept me awake at night quite like this. It is the most exciting project I have ever been a part of. Every day is a new revelation of possibility. We will be getting into futures. With Trade Sniper has the ability to do stocks, bonds, futures, everything. And it's all the charts, the chat, AI plugin, trading assistant, automated phone. It's all coming, and it's all going to be here probably roughly in the next 30 days. We're going to be plugging in the AI, but it's all going to pretty much start to come to fruition step by step, probably in the next 30 days or so. And most of this stuff will come to fruition probably around about Christmas or so. So we're going to end the year just fine. The rest of the market's not going to be so happy, but you need the very best tools to be a trader. So if you guys are really ready to give up on crypto, I would highly suggest that you entertain a look at this and really hear what I have to say. Sit down with your calculator and replicate what I just did. I'm not showing you anything you can't do with a $3 calculator or with a wristwatch calculator or even with your phone. This is math, guys. Cold, hard, ruthless math. The challenge is to be able to have the matrices to be able to anticipate downturns, which we do, to have the data to be able to anticipate what's happened in the past and forward forecast for the future, because history doesn't repeat itself, but oh, believe me, it rhymes. I've definitely demonstrated that over the 5 years that I've been trading, that I've been advising, I've been teaching, and I've been here advising sports stars, Hollywood people, potato farmers in Johannesburg, South Africa. All walks of life are with us, guys. Whether you want to believe me or not, you cannot refute what you'll find on your calculator when you do exactly what I just showed you. So my name is Red Baron. Thank you very much for entertaining me here. Hope to see you at the unfairadvantage.chat. Until next time, peace and hair grease, baby.